Welcome to Picks and Bones. I'm your host, Eric. This week we have Lesley Swift from Little Lesley and the Bloodshots, giving you guys a little taste of Honkytonk, and it's going to be awesome. You guys should really love this one. She's local to New York and to South Carolina, so she's, binding the coast together. This podcast is a member of the Civilized Creatures Entertainment Network, and this week's creature feature is Welcome to My Show with the incomparable Michelle Gould. She talks about her life, whether it's good, whether it's bad, new love, new foods, and then she does her garbage kitchen where it has to be seen to be believed about what people will put in their mouth together just to try to disgust one another. And he who throws up first taps out is the loser. So, yeah, that's a very interesting one. You can check that out on the Civilized Creatures Network Facebook page. And that comes out about once a month. So it's a real good one. I'm going to be on here in a few weeks. So it should be damned interesting, to say the least. Also want to do a shout-out to our sponsor, BioBidet. Put the green and clean, folks. Visit their website, biobidet.com. Save yourself 10% if you use the code BONES at checkout. That being said, welcome to my show. Have a listen.
I'm a bad, bad girl. Don't you tell me it ain't the truth. I should be at home, but I'm with you. And I don't want to go. Never felt this fire before. And I can't live without it anymore. 'Cause I'm a bad, bad girl. And I don't want to be good. Well, I wouldn't stop this if I could.
Welcome, everybody, to Picks and Bones. I'm your host, Eric. Tonight we are sitting down with Lesley Swift from Little Lesley and the Bloodshots. How you doing tonight, Lesley?
I'm doing fine.
That is awesome. I'm so glad to get you on the show. I really love your music and your sound. And since we've already jumped into that, why don't you kind of tell everybody who you guys are and kind of where you fit into the musical spectrum?
Music spectrum wise, I think I started out in rockabilly, but I've kind of and I started out in New York, and in the kind of rockabilly scene there, and there's actually a pretty decent rockabilly scene in New York, and they put on parties every month and special shows, and a lot of bigger rockabilly bands tour through there. So it was a good opportunity to be in that scene, and it was a lot of fun. And I played some festivals, rockabilly festivals around the country and around the world, actually. But I moved to South Carolina, 3 or 4 years now. And I actually stayed doing the rockabilly thing for the first 3 years. So I guess this is the fourth year. And just this year, I started to kind of transition a little more to the Billy side of rockabilly and kind of get out of that super tight niche of rockabilly and kind of expand more into just kind of honky-tonk, Americana, rockabilly kind of sound.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, you've transitioned well.
Oh, thank you. And I've got a local band now. So this whole time, really, since I've moved down here, I've played, when I first came down, my husband actually started the band with me. And he was my guitar player, and we had a drummer in New York. And when we came down here, we would play with drummers down here sometimes, but we would go up there and play with him a lot also and fly him down, and used to really travel a lot. And that just got really hard for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. So,
and my husband phased out of the band. He just kind of didn't want to travel anymore, and he's got a day job that's just a lot of work and a lot of hours. So he wasn't, he just kind of didn't want to tour anymore, but I was still, wanted to play all out and tour. And so I just started thinking about, how the sound was going to be without him in the band, and I just kind of started thinking about the players that I know and that I, heard around here and stuff, and just thinking that it would just be a really great opportunity to kind of get away from, because he's a real rockabilly player, so to kind of get away from that and also I feel like almost the whole time I've done rockabilly, I've definitely like been on the, rockabilly is a mix of country and rock, right? Yeah. It's rockabilly. But so now I've always been on the more Billy side of it, but I've always felt like I can't go too far there, because I'm rockabilly. But now, and then I just kind of had this realization that now, you know what, I can go as far as I want.
Exactly.
So, it happened really naturally, so it feels really good. And I found some local players that are just awesome and that I love to play with and just want to play, so we have a really good time. And now that I've got this band together and we've been playing around locally a lot, but now we're starting to get out more. And I just planned a tour for us in Europe next year. So I'm very excited about that. Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's pretty huge. What?
Yeah, I haven't announced it yet, but I mean, it can be on the podcast. That's cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's not a secret, but I haven't
it's just not public knowledge yet.
Yeah.
I got it.
So
hey,
I'm still thinking about how I'm going to roll it out,
Yeah.
And I don't have, so I have the first, definitely going to do a month in Belgium and the Netherlands. And then I'm still working on probably another week in Sweden and then a week maybe in Italy or maybe England. But I'm just kind of talking to different people and figuring it out. But we will definitely
I'd vote for Italy. I'd vote for Italy for sure.
Yeah.
So
I played in Italy in maybe 3 years ago at this really big festival called the Summer Jamboree. It was really, really awesome.
Oh, I bet.
It was beautiful.
Well, I know you said, have you always kind of done the rockabilly thing? What was kind of your first band that you were in?
My very first band I was in was a punk rock crazy band. And I used to run around and spit on people.
Awesome.
That was many years ago. So yeah, I've kind of come full circle because it's when I first started doing music when I was a little kid. My grandfather was really into Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn. He loved them. And so we would just sit around on Sundays singing those records. And he would have me stand on a chair and sing these songs.
That's awesome.
Really little. Yeah. And he'd be coaching me, it was like our little thing we did. And when I was a kid, I started, everywhere. When I played piano when I was a kid, and I'd play piano and sing Patsy Cline songs. And but then, by the time I was a teenager, I was like not into. I got too cool, and I got into wearing black and going to punk rock shows and all that.
As we all did.
Yeah. And I gave up my piano and started trying to play guitar, and I played guitar in my punk rock band. And then my husband was into rockabilly. I had nehad really, I guess I kind of knew about rockabilly, but not really. I didn't realize it was this whole culture and, whole thing. I had no idea that have you ever heard of this festival, Viva Las Vegas? It's probably the biggest rockabilly festival, and it's out in Las Vegas every year. But I had never even heard of that. I just didn't even know that scene existed. But it's really big,
either.
and I was like,
I didn't either. I mean,
it's a whole thing.
I mean, I know you kind of hear, when somebody says rockabilly, if you know anything about music, first person comes to mind is going to be like a Brian Setzer.
Yes. So the Stray Cats were probably the most famous rockabilly band. Like new rock. So rockabilly technically is just. That music in the 50s, Elvis, that first kind of when it was first turning, that period of time when it was turning from country into rock and roll, like that's the sweet spot of rockabilly. And then it had its first really big revival with the Stray Cats, in the 80s. They had that hit record. It was second to Thriller,
Yeah.
For I forget, we played a show with Lee Rocker and he was talking about how I didn't even realize that it was that big as it was at the time because I was pretty young, but so there's no rockabilly category at the Grammys, it's not.
No, there's really not. Nor a hillbilly, which I've kind of listened to more of the hillbilly stuff because I'd always like the heavier things, and that's just a whole different sound altogether too.
And that's even a smaller than rockabilly, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
psychobilly and hellabilly, they're a little offshoots from rockabilly, you know?
Yeah. They
So-
just decided to take it a little weirder,
Yeah.
which, you know, I dig weird. So that's,
No, I like that too. I love psychobilly. Yeah, for sure.
so, who were some of your influences coming up or even now?
Well, talking about psychobilly, we just played with Hot Rod Walt and the Psychobills, and I just love those guys. They're out of Atlanta, and they're just a really inspiring band to play with because they all work so hard and they're all so good at what they do, and they're just really fun to watch. They're really, really cool. And it's fun when you get to play with, because like in this genre too, you don't get to play with other bands much. Like in punk rock, it's pretty awesome. Every show there's 10 bands playing.
Oh yeah,
Hit all
or
the
even
shows you play,
metal.
you know, like that's just how it is. Every band plays for 20 minutes, you know.
And every band knows everybody else because
Right.
you don't get that many shows, so everybody just goes, and you know, you may even interchange members throughout the night.
Exactly. But like now, you know, we go and play a place for 3 or 4 hours ourselves. It's just, and it's rare that we get to play a multi-band show. So when we do, it's really fun. And I appreciate that a lot. But as far as like influences coming up, definitely Patsy Cline was a huge influence for me when I was a kid, and Loretta Lynn. And then, you know, when I was in high school, I was really into punk rock, and I loved the Dead Kennedys, and I loved the Violent Femmes, and then I've really had a lot of phases. I had a hip hop phase. I had, and then I got into like just hard rock, I would say. And then I went back to punk rock, and then I went into rockabilly land, and now here I am at Honkytonk.
Well, now, that's what makes you a well-rounded individual when
Right.
you have experienced all that. Because I know, you know, my first band I ever played in, I was 15, and I was a front man for a heavy metal band. But then
cool.
I've done everything from that to country to bluegrass to, you know, kind of southern rock to, you know, screamo, which,
Yeah.
you know, my wife hated that when I was I got invited to kind of put together a screamo band, and it was just, I was like, no. She goes, you listen, your voice is too nice. Don't kill it. You need to drop this shit like a bad habit. And
I actually had to quit doing punk too because of that. I blew out my voice all the time.
She gives the best advice. So I've learned to listen over the years.
She's a smart lady.
She really is. And she enjoyed meeting you as well when we were out at the show.
Oh, cool.
Okay, I know as someone who has experienced one of your shows, what do you want the audience takeaway to be?
You know, I think for me, it's about my songs. You know, most of this, like when we do long shows, of course, we do a good bit of covers in there too to keep it going and to keep it, you know, everybody interested and to fill it out. Because sometimes, you know, we'll do a night of 50 songs maybe, you know, which is a lot. And I'm up to 33 original songs, I think.
Well, that's
which is
awesome.
Pretty good. That has been like under this umbrella, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we can do like that night that you saw us, I think was 3 sets maybe we did.
Yeah.
And so it was probably, you know, 1/3 covers and 2/3 originals, something like that. So maybe we did 45, 50 songs and we did, you know, 30 originals and 15 covers or something like that. Which is a fun mix also, because I love to just express myself in covers too. You know, I still love that music. It's all good.
Well, that's something that I think makes you unique too. And you know, you've kind of you're already answering one of the other questions I had was, you know, how do you make covers your own? But it's just simply because of your unique sound and how you guys, your instrumentation and how you interpret those songs. That's what makes it different.
Well, you know I think about you all the time. I think about your love and I
That
Yeah,
it's
and
not
I
just,
think
you know,
it's like a songwriter thing, you know. So back to the what do I want people to take away? I think is my songs. You know, if somebody left like with my song in their head, like they remembered it and it's got stuck in their head, that's awesome, you know. And if somebody after the show wants to buy my CD and put it in their car and listen to it, that's awesome. Like
we did that.
That's really
we left
you
your
so
show
much.
jamming to you. So
That's
and
so
actually,
cool. That's so cool.
It's in the car for to go for the beach drive down. So that's going to be pretty great too. But
that is
since we're talking about your music, what is your writing process? Are you someone that, do you get a melody stuck in your head? Do you go with the music first? Do you go with the lyrics and then build around that?
All of those things. Sometimes I get a tune and, you know, a song just comes into my head and I'm somewhere random and I like Facebook or, you know, voice memo it and, not Facebook, voice memo it. And, then, you know, work it out later when I can get to my guitar or whatever. And that's maybe like half of them, I would say. And then, but other times I'm just, you know, sitting with my guitar or bass or the piano and just playing around with notes and music and something comes, you know? But usually it starts with the music and not with the lyrics, which is interesting because in my punk bands years ago, it was always just lyrics and then I'd have to figure out what kind of music I was going to put to it. But, and I think that was about, more about the like lyrical content and the vibe of it, maybe. Yeah, the angst, you know, like the angst was there and then I'd have to, but with this, I find myself writing around a melody way more than like writing lyrics to a melody way more than the other way around. But I really, it's really important to me that it fits the right way together. And I, you know, pine a lot over, just expressing it both with the melody and the lyric, like in the right way.
Okay. No, I mean, I like it because, I mean, everybody has their own method and methodologies on how their approach is. And I love hearing about that because, you know, that just kind of, you got that free flow where the creative is going to happen regardless, which that's very respectable because not everybody can hit that point. And a lot of people feel like they have to, okay, I've got to get the lyrics first because if I don't have the lyrics, I don't have a song. And then, well,
occasionally I get really lucky and a song will just come to me, the whole freaking song with the lyrics. Occasionally, you know, the tune will get in my head with the right lyrics.
Yeah.
But it's only like 10%, maybe. I don't know, maybe 20%. But usually I have to figure it out.
Well, and then you got, you know, people like where they've got the music first and then the music drives what, or that melody drives what the vocals are going to end up being.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about, you know, storytelling with your music?
Yeah, I mean, all my songs are really tell a story. I feel like they're personal and they're all from the heart, you know. More and more, actually. So I think, you know, in some of my early rockabilly stuff, it's a little more stylized, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now it's gotten more relaxed in the I don't know. I just feel like more free to be more personal. You know, like it's just gotten to that level, which, you know, because it's a scary thing to do.
Yeah, and everybody and you evolve. You either evolve or you get left behind. And, you know, it sounds like you've grasped how that evolution works. Do you have any new projects or albums coming out anytime soon?
Well, I am working on a new album right now. So we got about 6 songs, I think, for it. And hopefully I'll get 6 more sometime soon. My goal is, I'm deciding actually right now, when we go to Europe next summer, we may record there. We may do it here. I'm just kind of figuring out what I want to do.
Okay.
But I'm looking at hopefully I'm definitely going to be putting out a record in 2020.
Awesome.
A full length. Yeah, a full length with the new band. Oh, and my pedal steel guy wasn't there the day that you saw me, but now I pretty much have pedal steel all the time too. And I found this great pedal steel player, and it's really, I think you really gonna like that.
Oh, I look forward to hearing it for sure. So, what are some of your favorite venues to play around here?
Well, we love Tribbles where you saw me. That is such a cool place. I love that owner Kim is like so into music and really actually cares about, like, you know, it's cool because in New York, all the venues are like that. Like, they're all doing it for, not all of them, but it's very much a feeling like everybody's about the music. And I feel like in South Carolina, there's such a small handful of venues like that around here, you know? Yeah. It's mostly about music's such an afterthought, you know? Nobody really, like, they know they need it, but they almost don't want it. They just know they have to have it or something. I don't know. Because,
you know, the crowd's going to demand it, you know,
right?
Because they know that's what's going to get people in their, you know, clubs.
Yeah, but that place has such a cool vibe. And we love the Velo Fellow in Greenville. We started doing a residency there. We're there every Thursday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're doing a honky-tonk happy hour from 6:30 to 9 every Thursday, which has been really fun. We're just doing it for the summer. And then I don't know what our plan is with that, but it's been super fun so far. And I also really like Got Rocks in Greenville and the Radio Room are both really good rock and roll clubs. I like both those places.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, we're going to jump into what I call the bare bones of things.
All right.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions. You can give me whatever the first thing that pops on the top of your mind or the tip of your tongue. And I promise some of them are not doozies.
Okay.
They're pretty easy. So the very first one is, what would be your death row meal?
Death row meal. Oh my gosh. I think definitely steak and French fries.
Okay. I get that one
with
a lot.
Ketchup. Yeah.
Okay. Chicken wings, drums, flats, dry rub, or sauce?
Oh, I don't like chicken
wings. Okay. Hey, you were the first.
No chicken wings for me.
You're the first person to be a no winger.
I don't eat meat off a bone like that.
You sound like my daughter. She doesn't like it either, but she will tear up some chicken wings. Okay, a song or band that you've got stuck in your head, right? That you're stuck on right now that you're really into.
Well, let me get my phone on the top of my head. Well, I have only been listening to my stuff these last 3 days, so in person. Well, I was just listening to the Psycho the Bills record. I'll talk about them again. They gave it to me when I saw them. It's awesome. They just put out a new record, and they sound better than ever. It's really good.
That's awesome. Okay, what is your all-time favorite book?
Maybe.
I've gotten everything from Clifford the Big Red Dog to Harry Potter to I've never read a book.
I'm just trying to, for some reason I'm having a total blank on the name of it, but it's not Slaughterhouse-Five, but it's Kurt Vonnegut. Kurt Vonnegut's my favorite author.
Okay,
and
fair enough.
It's the one like Slaughterhouse-Five, but it's a different title. Anyway. I haven't read it in many, many years, obviously.
I like Vonnegut too, so, you know, that's fair enough. Okay, what was the first record, CD, cassette that you ever bought with your own money, if you can recall?
I'm trying to remember. It might have been the Little Orphan Annie record.
Okay.
When I was really little.
That's fair enough.
I'm trying to remember.
So what was your first concert?
It was something like that. My first concert was my first like big concert.
Any concert.
Any concert.
Yeah, the first concert that you remember going to.
My dad took me to the Beach Boys when I was little. So that was the first concert I remember going to, where we were like at a concert and they were on a stage far away.
Yeah, I got drugged to one of those too.
I love the Beach Boys.
They're great. They are great.
But
it was Beach
Brian
Boys
Wilson
in
wasn't
Chicago.
there, so you know, he's my favorite Beach Boy.
When we went, it was the Beach Boys in Chicago together. So it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Neither.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry.
It's all right.
What's the difference? I don't even barely know the difference.
Oh my goodness, you need a life education.
No, I do. I just don't want to admit it.
That's okay. Do you have a personal mantra or life philosophy?
Not really. I mean, I could come up with one.
I mean, I've gotten everything from, don't sweat the small stuff to keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, it is what it is.
1 foot in front of the other.
Okay. I like it.
You just gotta keep going.
Okay. One song, doesn't matter if you've heard it a million times. If it comes up on your playlist or on the radio, the volume goes up because that's just your jam. What is it?
Well, I was driving to work this morning and I heard Queen's Another One Bites the Dust, and I immediately had to turn it up really loud.
That takes me back to skating rink days.
Right.
Okay, a person living or dead that you wish you could take the stage with.
Oh, boy. Little Richard.
Ooh, okay.
Alive, but in a wheelchair.
Yeah. All right. So who's besides yourselves should people be checking out and paying attention to right now? Musically.
Like locally or just in general?
In general. You can pick one local, one in general.
Well, locally, everybody should probably already knows about, and if they don't, then they should know about my friend Darby Wilcox, who's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody knows Darby, right? She was just the first person that came to mind. Because I love it. And globally, it was like I don't know, I like all the music. I like so much music. I'm not one of those people who don't like music, who's like, oh, this new music sucks. That's not me, man. I like music.
I listen to
I like a lot of new stuff. I do too. I really do. I don't know. It's funny. My daughter, she's 10 and she listens to everything. And it's just like, no, I can get into this. I like it. I like it all.
Well, see, I had one of those proud parent moments. My daughter for the last couple of years is listening to nothing but this trap and mumble rap and everything. Last night she's back in cleaning her room and she's got the Beatles blaring. And she was listening to, God, who was it? She was listening to Queen the other day. And she was listening to some Jackson Brown. And I'm like, what? Who are you? And where have you been hiding all these years? You kind of have that proud parent moment. And then she was like, and she was listening to like Zach Brown and things like that. And I'm like, I said, okay, I can dig it now. Now we can actually talk music.
Yeah.
So, where can people find your music?
Well, you can get our records. I'm selling them always at gigs. So, but pretty much online, you can just get them from our record label, which is, I'm pretty sure the website is western-star.es. But just Google Western Star. And we have 2 records on their site. We've got a 7-inch vinyl Doing Fine single. And then they have our full Heartbeat CD that I think is the one that you got, right, Eric?
Yeah.
And then actually I have my debut full length I'm out of, but I decided to do a reissue.
Cool.
So I'm going to get that going. That actually is something to announce that I have coming up. I'm going to hopefully have those by the end of the year. And I'm going to do like kind of just a new artwork and put in a couple bonus songs and just kind of do a reissue on my first record, which is On Fire, which has 13 songs on it. So I'll have that soon.
All right. Are there any shout outs you want to give?
I guess just shout out to my band. I've got Zach Bolton on guitar and Mark Dye on bass and Brian Kennedy on drums. And then we've got Shona Shields on pedal steel playing with us. And we're Little Lesley and the Bloodshots.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate it. And I want to say thank you so much for making time to be able to come on the show tonight. And, for us to actually, sit down and talk about you and your music. And I want to encourage everybody to get out there and see one of your live shows, because you guys put on one heck of a show for sure. I mean, there's so much energy and everything in it that, it's infectious. Definitely.
Oh, thanks.
And, we'll encourage everybody to go out, listen, support local music, support these local bands, share them around, tell everybody, bring somebody new to a show. That's how everybody gets that opportunity to be heard and to grow. And that being said, once again, Lesley, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thanks, folks, for listening and paying attention and for sharing. Visit our Facebook page, Picks and Bones. You can find us on Twitter, Picks and Bone. And, stay in touch. Reach out to us. If you're a band,
all right.
If you're a band, let me know. I'd love to get you on. So, folks, that being said, thanks. We'll see you next week.